So Freak just announced that there might be an Assassin update in 14.12.
We are probably going to take a long look at various assassins in 14.12. We grab Cosmic for this patch, but we'll probably take a longer sweep at them. We grab Cosmic for 0.11, but we'll probably take a longer sweep in 0.12 at other assassins. Make sure their win rates are appropriate, make sure the builds are appropriate, make sure that they are succeeding in the way they're meant to succeed. So stay tuned for that. Some of that might get punted towards 0.13 if it's more complex work, but we are going to be looking at assassins next patch.
And a change from 14.10, which is the introduction of Jack of all trades, might just make 80 assassins alongside these buffs kind of insane. Jack of all trades alone can give you over 1,000 gold value worth of stats. It's just getting from 5 to 10 is a lot harder than getting from 0 to 5. So this first section is basically just talking about which items can make it past the 10 stack breakpoint for Jack of all trades, just because it's kind of impossible to do with the default standard assassin build. For the standard build, you will always want to rush Eclipse, which gives you 80 and CDR. Tier 1 boots gives you your third stat of movement speed, but most people upgrade them into Lucidity boots, which just gives you more CDR. Eclipse in a Profane is extremely standard, but it only gives you one new stat, which is flat lethality. So you're getting more AD, you're getting the new stat, which is flat lethality, and you're getting even more CDR. And then Grudge for the strategy, it sucks. It's so bad. You get no new stats. You get AD, flat lethality, and cooldown reduction, which you already have. And the percent pen passive, it doesn't count towards the stacks for Jack of all trades. So what the strategy pretty much revolves around is purchasing an early Doran's Blade so that you get 3 unique stats. You get 80 health and lifesteal. The 80, obviously, you're gonna get it anyway in your build, but you don't get health unless you get Edge of Night, and you definitely do not get lifesteal for any 80 assassin. And the next thing you can do instead of getting Lucidity boots is you can just buy Merc Treads. Merc Treads gives you 3 unique stats. It gives you magic resist, move speed, and tenacity. And Lucidity boots only gives you cooldown reduction, and the summoner spell haste doesn't count as one. So it obviously synergizes with Cosmic Insight, but if we're not going Cosmic Insight, there's not really a point to go Lucidity boots. So for the Assassin class, it's almost mandatory that you have to buy Eclipse first item or somewhere alongside your build. For Naafiri, for sure, you have to rush it first because it works so well with her kit. But the only new stat it gives you is ability haste in with the Doran's Blade and the Merc Treads. So where you can go second is you can go Opportunity second, and that will give you 80, the new stat of bonus percent move speed, and flat lethality. Unfortunately, though, there's actually a bug that we'll go over in a bit. That Opportunity's lethality stat does not count towards Jack of all trades' stacks count. For whatever reason, it just doesn't do that, which is fine. It sets it back by 1 point. But you could literally go any lethality item and it would be fine if you do the next item, which is actually LDR. And LDR got changed this patch to be flat stats instead of giving you the Giant Slayer passive, which was really good on ACs, but really bad on Naafiri because Naafiri had one of the highest health cards in the entire game. So it was really bad to do it on those kinds of champions, and you were pretty much like forced to go Serylda's. But now that's removed and it's giving you flat stats. Guess how we can use that? We can use it to get 2 more stats. We're getting 80, a new stat of armor percent penetration, and we're getting crit chance, which is putting us way past the limit. We're actually at 11 now if we go Opportunity, if it wasn't bugged, but and we would just be at 10 if we're doing a normal lethality build of Eclipse, Profane, and LDR. So for the 4th and 5th items, you basically want to make up stats that you're going to lose from Doran's Blade. So the best ways for you to do this are to get health, armor, and Opportunity's bonus move speed. So if you didn't already buy Opportunity, it would be a good time to buy it now, even though it's the lethality is bugged for the Jack of all trades stat, it still gives you the actual lethality like in the game. So it's still good to get fourth item. And then fifth item, you can sell your Doran's Blade. Finally, you can now sell your Doran's Blade. You should not sell it before, or else you will lose the stat. And you can buy a cloth armor, or you can buy a ruby crystal and the tunneler upgrade for Edge of Night, and that is the best way for you to keep and maintain the 10 stats that you need for Jack of all trades. And obviously, if you need the armor, you can go GA or Death Stance, and it doesn't have to be such a linear way. Like, you can, fourth and fifth items are basically interchangeable. So if you really had like a 1,000 gold shutdown or something, you could just buy GA fourth, and that would give you an extra bonus stat. And then for your last item, you could go opportunity, or you could go Edge of Night. Either way, you can sell your Doran's Blade and get the epic component, which is Retrix and Tunneler, and either one of them work, and you'll keep the 10 stats. So for this strategy, we're basically looking for as much gold as we can in the early game so that we can reach the 10 stacks of Jack of all trades really fast. So the easiest way to do that is obviously go first strike, and most assassins will go first strike. It got changed so that it gives you more early gold income at the start of the game rather than later into the game, which is really good. Before you do like random chip damage with your like Q or whatever on Naafiri at least, and you would barely get anything out of it, but now you get 15 gold guaranteed, which is like really good. So for the standard page that people are kind of going on 80 Assassins now, a lot of them are going cashback instead of magical footwear. And for this strategy, that's not really what we're looking for. We're pretty much looking for as much gold value as we can get in the early game so that we can get to 3 items. And we don't really care as much about 4th and 5th items because we're going to have to sell our Doran's Blade much later into the game anyway, so that we're ahead of the curve on the Jack of all trades. So the problem with going cashback is that you're getting your value out of the rune at 3rd, 4th, and 5th items instead of right when you need it, which is right after Eclipse. And for magical footwear, you almost always get magical footwear either as you buy Eclipse or right after, literally like less than 30 seconds after you buy Eclipse. It's really good value so that you get your 5th stack of Jack of all trades instantly, and you're not spending 300 gold on boots early game, which is really nice. It actually feels really good to have the extra 10 flat move speed as well, so you're not like baited to buy Merc Tread super early when you don't have to. And then for triple tonic versus biscuits, it's kind of just personal preference, but I would say I almost always go biscuits just because I'm going Doran's Blade early, so I have even more max HP. So it like compounds the value of it, and it helps with mana costs, obviously, but it actually helps you find a lot of solo kills by baiting people, and not many people expect how little mana the Q and the E are from Naafiri, so it's actually nice. So pretty much here's the opportunity bug. So when I purchase opportunity, it should give me 3 flat stats for Jack of all trades, but it actually only gives me 2. And then look, when I purchase a serrated dirk, it actually gives me a 3rd one, and it's the lethality stats that it's missing. So I don't know why it does that, but... And here's the same thing pretty much for Cyrilda's Grudge. When you purchase Cyrilda's Grudge, you're actually forgoing your percent armor pen that you would get from your Last Whisper passive, and it's put onto like the item passive, which actually nerfs your Jack of Trade by 1 because you're losing the percent pen. So it's a good item, yes, but it is not going to work for the strategy at all. So here I just want to show that the Eclipse Opportunity and LDR build It should give you 11, but it actually only gives you 10 in game. So the thing that would help a lot is if you went opportunity second, you would literally just be able to get a last whisper and then you would have your 10 stats. So this build is actually a bit cheaper than the standard build just because opportunity is a lot cheaper than Profane Hydra, and LDR is a bit cheaper than Sorelda's by 200 gold. So the important part is that you want to make sure that you're going free boots so that you're not buying Merc Treads too early. And the Poro Snacks is good, but you really want to power spike around 2 to 3 items. The thing that's harder though is that because you're buying Doran's Blade so early in the game, it's harder to spike on Eclipse, but you're stronger in early laning phase. Before you get Eclipse in the standard build, you are very weak as Naafiri, but now you're actually able to contest CS, you're able to actually 1v1 people, you have enough HP, and you have a little bit of lifesteal, so it actually feels really nice. And you have quota reduction from the little ticks of Jack of all trades. And yes, obviously I understand that you could rush opportunity first and buy Doran's Blade, Merc Treads, Glowing Moat, and something like a Cloth Armor, Last Whisper, or a crit Cloak, but that's not worth it. You should not do that. You on Naafiri, you for sure need a Eclipse first item. You have to buy a Eclipse first item or you are kind of griefing. So opportunity is also bugged, so like you're not even getting it with this right now, so you definitely should not go this build. The only reason you would do this if like you really had to spike super early and you needed the extra like AD, but even then it's not worth it. You need Eclipse. You need to finish Eclipse first, and after that you could literally just do the same thing, except instead of buying Cloth Armor, you could just buy your Last Whisper, which builds into LDR or Mortal Reminder, and you'd be fine. So I wanted to see what were the common stats of ADCs when they are 2 levels under what a solo lane Naafiri would be at level 13, which is roughly when you get your 3-item power spike. So I use Kai'Sa as my example, and Kai'Sa had roughly 1700 HP and 60 armor. So I just took that and put it on every squishy target dummy. So for the tanker target dummy, it's actually a lot harder to gauge where this should be. So technically, tanks have more armor and HP, but bruisers have a bit less. So I wanted to keep like a good middle ground in between the two. So I just gave the target dummy 3000 HP and 150 armor. Most of the tanks have, if they're building 2 armor items, they're going to have over 200 armor and around 2700 HP. So it's a bit more challenging to gauge that for bruisers though, because you can maybe not build an armor item, maybe they just build a magic resist item. So for this build, this is pretty much the gold standard for Naafiri's 3-item core. This is by far her most popular build, and it kind of revolves around her using her ability haste to her advantage. But the thing about Naafiri is that her identity is an AD assassin and not an AD mage. She's not an AD mage that revolves around cooldown reduction. You only get capped out at, I would say like 40 CDR is more than enough for Naafiri, and anything past that is a lot extra. So obviously the DPS check will be a bit flawed because of that, and I mean, this build also isn't going to be going Jack of Trades, so the other build, the Opportunity build, or the one that I will show after that, is going to be showing it with Jack of Trades and with your 10 stacks of it, so you're getting the bonus AD from that and the cooldown reduction from that as well. And of course, we're going to be doing the same burst combo on every target dummy, which will be W into Q, E, and then Profane if possible, auto, Q, auto. And that's it. And we'll let the dogs auto attack twice afterwards, because after you auto attack, they'll auto. So this is the standard builds damage with Cosmic Insight. And then here's the Jack of all trades build with opportunity and LDR. And obviously we have to account for us critting, so we're gonna do one test with a crit and one test without a crit. Okay, and then same thing for the tankier target dummy. So obviously the builds have their trade-offs, but one thing to note for sure is that the Jack of all trades build is also a little bit cheaper than the standard build, and you're doing this damage, you're doing very comparable damage without a Tiamat active. Where you don't have Tiamat in this build and you're doing that much damage, which is kind of insane if you think about it. That's really good. So if you crit, you're doing more damage, but if you don't crit, you're doing a tad bit less, which is still very fine. And the other thing to note is that you're just straight up going to do more damage if they're above 60 armor. So that's like the majority of champions you're going to be fighting against are going to have tabbies or some sort of one armor item. But now I want to talk about the build that I'm going, and it's the build that takes the strengths of both of these builds and puts it into one, and it just is so good. So this is the build that I would actually recommend people to go, and it still has Profane Hydra in it, and it's a little bit more expensive than the standard build, but it keeps the 10 stacks of Jack of all trades, and it gives you just straight up more damage, a lot more damage. So I want to test it out here. So obviously this build pumps damage, and it's keeping a bit of the ability haste that you would lose from the opportunity build, which is really nice. Honestly, it's really nice that you still have a bit of the ability haste, and you get the ability haste from the 10 stacks of Jack of all trades, which you're keeping, which is so good. And the damage, it's more than enough. It's actually better than both builds, and it far outclasses the standard build in terms of tankier targets. And even on like squishier targets, you don't really need the extra damage. If they're that squishy, you're gonna one shot them anyway. So it's really nice. And obviously it's a bit more of an expensive build. It's 450 more gold than the standard build, but 450 gold is very easy to accomplish and make up, and that's literally just a Doran's blade. So, if you guys are going to try out this build, let me know how it goes. I hope it goes well. I hope everything works out, and that you're not griefing and you don't sell the Doran's blade early. Just please make sure you do not sell the Doran's blade early. Um, and yeah, let me know how it goes. Bye.